politics now, when the early groundwork is being laid for a run at the White House in 2016. The cross-country travels of potential candidates looking a bit like a campaign roadmap. Joe Biden is visiting New Hampshire today. Jeb Bush and Hillary Clinton were in Texas yesterday for an education summit and actually met briefly backstage. Kind of reminiscent of another event in Philadelphia last September when Bush joked with her about the presidential primary season.
Hillary and I come from different political parties, and we disagree about a few things, but we do agree on the wisdom of the American people, especially those in Iowa and New Hampshire and South Carolina. In fact, I think Secretary Clinton might be in Des Moines next week. Now, don't actually wear the medal there, Madam Secretary.
I'd like to bring in Zerlina Maxwell, political analyst and Grio.com contributor. Chris Wilson is a Republican pollster and former executive director of the Texas Republican Party under then-Governor George W. Bush. Good to see both of you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, do you guys think other potential candidates, Joe Biden, Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, are just waiting to see when Hillary Clinton and Jeb Bush decide whether to run for president before, Zerlina, they decide?
I think so. I mean, I think that, largely this is the race to see who can be captain of junior varsity on the Republican side in many ways. I think Rand Paul, he joked the other day about not having to being an asker of money. That's true, but he has a lot of corporate lobbyist money tied up, and that's why he doesn't need to ask for money. He's very much the darling of the grassroots on the right. And so I think that, Hillary Clinton, this is a case in which she is the front runner, but I think that there is a danger. There's a very, very real danger for us to, say that she hasn't wrapped up this early.
Well, obviously, but let's look at the Republican side. And for a long time, Chris, there was a lot of talk about Chris Christie, but we know he's had his problems. Now there seems to be a growing suspicion that maybe Jeb Bush is thinking seriously about getting into the race. Does that automatically make him the favorite? And obviously, to run, you need staff, you need money. Is anybody else going to have trouble in the meantime?
Well, there's a lot in that question. I'll go through it point by point. I think in terms of going out and campaigning today, it's never too early to start. Voters in Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, they're used to meeting the candidates face-to-face and in their living room and in their coffee shop. And so that's why you see Jeb Bush and Rand Paul and even Chris Christie going up and going to those states early. From a money standpoint, Jeb Bush and Hillary Clinton have established fundraising bases through their family connections, through the people who, through their past runs with Hillary Clinton's place. So you've got other candidates that need to start to build those connections. But the case that we saw in really 4 years ago and 8 years ago is candidates rise and fall based on the strength or failures of a single news cycle in one debate. And so who is the front runner today means absolutely nothing for what it is a couple years ago. And I think I like Joanna's comment about it being really running for the head of the junior varsity because at this point we have no idea who's going to be on the varsity team when we get to the case, and people are actually campaigning a year or two from now.
I think that we know the varsity team captain. I think that the junior varsity, you're still looking for a team captain. Whenever Jeb Bush is someone that we're excited about, I think that you've gone wrong somewhere because Jeb Bush is not a new candidate, right? I mean, I think we're talking about him.
Hillary Clinton.
Well, I think that's true, but I think that the difference is that Hillary has both establishment support and grassroots support. Jeb Bush is the favorite of the establishment, not the grassroots, which he will need to win a primary. And look, I think, look,
well, let's talk about Hillary first of all, because the decision has to be made, okay?
Yes.
We're talking about sort of the timeline here.
Sure.
So here's what she said, again, kind of sidestepping the question at a Clinton Global Initiative event a couple of days ago.
If you don't represent women in politics in America as future president, who will?
Look, I am very much concerned about the direction of our country. Give me your name and number. Obviously thinking about all kinds of decisions.
So I guess the question then becomes when you're Hillary Clinton, and there is no doubt she's the one on your side. To be fair, if she's not going to run, when does she have to let the rest of the field know?
Well, I think that she'll, by the end of the year. I mean, that's largely the indicators all point to the end of the year is when we will know for sure whether or not she's going to run. But I think the money and the super PAC money in particular going behind Hillary is in response to conservative PAC money that is already being put together in order to set up attacks against Hillary Clinton. And the closet sexists will come out of, the sexists will come come out of the closet in 2016 if she decides to run, and we'll know by the end of the year.
Will we know by the end of the year?
None of the front runners are going to have problems raising money. Is what it gets down to. I mean, you look at both candidates in the last elections, and from Republican nominee, Democrat nominee, the front runners have all had plenty of money. I mean, really, the battle royale is going to be between Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton, and that's going to be the one you can sell tickets to, because I think Biden's making it very clear right now he's not going to wait for Hillary Clinton to make that decision. So she may take to the end of the year, but Biden's running strong now, and as you watch the two of them start to jockey for the top Democratic donors, that's the one that's really going to be exciting to watch. I also have to take a little bit of a point with Zelena's point earlier about Jeb Bush. I disagree about the grassroots strength behind his candidacy. The fact is that Jeb Bush is being kind of dragged into this race, not necessarily by the establishment, but by the grassroots. He is someone who is popular. He's not his brother. He's not his dad. He's got a different base of support. And you look back to the type of people who are trying to recruit him in. It's not your traditional Republican establishment supporters. It really is grassroots leadership.
Chris, Zerlina, good to have both of you here. We'll have this conversation again. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Today's tweet of the day comes from the First Lady's Twitter handle. Tai Chi is a truly beautiful form of physical activity, and I loved giving it a try.
Okay, here's the way the system works. Let's say you pay your guy around 2% to manage your money. That's not much, you think, except it's 2% every year.